area first that you think Ole Miss can have success?
Ooh, that's a better way to phrase it because I thought you were going to say where Alabama is vulnerable. So I'm going to cheat and I'm going to answer that question. I think one of their weaknesses is offensive line. I think that this is, compared to other Alabamas, not their best unit. They give up pressure, a lot of pressure on Young. They don't exactly run the football as well as you're accustomed to an Alabama team running. The question, though, is can Ole Miss exploit that perceived weakness? Because we can talk about vulnerabilities with Alabama all day, but they're only vulnerabilities if you can exploit them. And to me, that's the key to the game. I don't think it's Ole Miss's running backs. I don't think it's Jackson Dart. I don't even think it's Ole Miss's offensive line. It's can Ole Miss in the front, whatever you want to call it, front five, front six, front seven, however they line up, can they control the line of scrimmage and get pressure? Because if that answer is no, this game's going to look like 2020. Alabama's going to score at will if you can't get pressure on Bryce Young, even a banged-up version of him. That's the X factor, circled twice, underlined twice. If Ole Miss can't get pressure, they're going to lose the football game.
I think that's the first part of the equation. But the second part of the equation, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm just kind of adding on to what you said. When you get home, you got to finish.
Yeah.
Now, pressure for the sake of pressure to make Bryce Young feel uncomfortable, that's great. That's not pressure for the sake of pressure. Pressure coming that causes Bryce Young to feel uncomfortable and make throws that he doesn't want to make or have to make the throw sooner than he wants to make it, that's one thing. I guess the point I'm making is you can't bring pressure up the middle without something also coming from the outside and allow Bryce Young to get to the outside and pick up 25 yards on 2nd and 17. Or get to the outside, buy more time, you're still chasing, it allows a route to develop down the field, and he hits a big play. Because goodness knows Bryce Young has the ability to do that. We saw him do his best Gumby impersonation against Texas earlier this year, where he just kind of went dead leg, dump down the player from Texas. All he had to do was break down and tackle him for a sack, and the game was over, and he couldn't do it, and boom, Bryce Young makes a play. Did it last week against LSU. Should have been a sack, broke away, ended up throwing a touchdown pass. Completely agree with you on getting pressure on Bryce Young. But it can't be just like initial pressure that you then allow him to escape and go make a play.
And Ole Miss is, at times this year, have gotten into the backfield, gotten a paw on a guy, and he's escaped and made plays. Happened in the Auburn game. Can't have that happen here. I'm curious to see how they approach that. I wonder if, maybe they'll have a spy, whether it's somebody like Tennyson or Coleman or whoever, how they're going to approach that. Do they keep somebody in the box just to make sure if Cedric Johnson, who apparently is healthier for sure, if he's able to get pressure but Young escapes, do you have somebody there that is able to do that? Because how many times have you seen so far this season an Ole Miss defense that was able to flush a quarterback and there is nobody there? Happened in the Auburn game. Ashford scored a touchdown on a broken play where there was nobody spying a running quarterback, and he scored a touchdown easily. If you're going to do that,
spy. I mean, LSU used Harold Perkins Jr. a lot, and he might be the best equipped player in college football to handle that assignment. Who do you use for that if you're Ole Miss? Is it Otis Reese?
Maybe a combination to throw them different looks, but Tennyson's shown the ability at times to do that.
Yeah.
I think, I could be wrong. The coaches will probably tell me I'm wrong. I think Coleman is your best athlete there. But is he healthy? You would think after the bye week, but
yeah,
he's on the list of
and
24
Corey
dozen
Coleman
players that have been hurt.
He was kind of the other guy that I was thinking about, and Athletic has certainly made some plays. Hey, Dad, you've watched both of these teams. Where's an area that you think Ole Miss can have some success?
Well, we've talked so much this week about Alabama and their motivation and are they into the game. And Ole Miss is the king of scoring on the first drive and making you look really silly when they do it. Big holes in the running game, wide open receivers. I mean, and really the first quarter is that's Ole Miss's time, right? They get out to a huge lead, and then whatever happens from there kind of happens. In a game like this where we're worried about Alabama being into the game, I mean, a quick 14-0 lead could be the death knell for Alabama. So that's what I'm watching is how quick can Ole Miss get on the board, and can they hold Alabama? That first defensive drive might be the most important drive of the game for Ole Miss.
There's one thing that you feel really confident about going into the game. Ole Miss is getting the ball first.
Yeah, because Saban will probably decline.
If Ole Miss wins the toss, they're taking the ball. If Ole Miss loses the toss, Alabama's going to defer to the second half, and the Rebels will still get the ball first. It's been that way all season long.
Yeah. Saban would be wise to change his philosophy and maybe get the ball first.
Yeah.
Don't know that he will.
Don't know that he will.
So that's one. And the other, it sounds elementary. You got to make fewer mistakes. Well, that's the key to basically every football game. But Alabama especially has a propensity to shoot themselves in the foot. One of the most penalized teams in America, especially on the road. So Ole Miss can't match that. There are so many things that have to go their way if they're going to want to compete in this game. I mean, there's a reason it's a 12-point line. It's Nick Saban's Alabama, all that stuff. I mean, there's a reason that all of those things are what they are. So if they find themselves doing that again and you match it, you're taking an opportunity away from yourself. They're going to make mistakes. They've shown it. So if you are clean, which is the key to every game, I know, but it's especially important this week because they will in the secondary, and it's not just penalties. How many blown assignments did Alabama's secondary have in the Tennessee game, for example? How many blown assignments did they have defensively in the LSU game? It's not just penalties where they'll screw up. They'll screw up on assignments as well, responsibilities, that kind of thing.